So we're going live at 11. It's 11 right now. Wait, we're live? Oh. Hello viewers, and welcome to Cardbeard's Knowledge Center. Today, as a continuation of organic chemistry, we will be talking about one of the most important reactions in all of organic chemistry. Well, at least the most important in my eyes. This reaction is condensation polymerization. Now, you might be wondering, what are condensation polymerization reactions, and why do I think they're so important? Let me answer question 2 for you first. So basically, condensation polymerization reactions, they happen everywhere. They have such wide diversity, and they have so many uses that basically we can't live without them. Let me give you an example. So you know how there's cells in our arm? Well, when those cells do work, they require energy for these energy-rich molecules, which we normally get through food. And these energy-rich molecules, they're in our cells, they provide the cells energy. But they're just in the form of these tiny molecules. No. Through condensation reactions, we slowly build up those tiny molecules into huge chains. And that's how we store them. And these huge chains are used for energy, are used for structural, and they're used for far more purposes, which I won't get into. Another use of condensation reactions is making plastics. So plastics are very important in our world because of how much things we could make from plastics. And plastics by themselves, one molecule which makes up plastic can't do anything. But when you build up hundreds of these chains, they become very powerful and can make a very strong material. If you think of these two examples, you can see how diverse the range are. From we get energy storage, and on the other hand, we could get plastics. But let me get into what these reactions actually are. Okay, so do you see the two molecules that I have on the screen? We have ethanol, and then we have butyric acid. So this is the first step condensation reaction I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to teach you naming because that's the focus of this video. But if you want to learn naming, you can go to one of my other videos. The link is right. What? The link got taken down. But why? My video is targeted for copyright? And you tell me this now, during the middle of a video. Alright, leave it. Well, everyone, if you want to see naming now, I think you have to find someone else, because my videos got taken down. Now, back to what I was saying about before. Ethanol and butyric acid can react with each other in a condensation reaction. Wait. I forgot to tell you guys what a condensation reaction is. Let me explain in the most simplest terms I can possibly manage. A condensation reaction is a reaction where two molecules combine to make a larger molecule which has a longer carbon chain, releasing a small molecule such as H2O. This reaction always requires heat and acid as a catalyst. What do you mean? I'm confusing the viewers? No, I'm not. Well, either way, let's continue on. We'll figure this out as we go on. So now back to what I was talking about before. The reaction between ethanol and butyric acid is specifically known as the synthesis of esters. To synthesize an ester, the organic reactants must be an alcohol, for which we have ethanol, and carboxylic acid, for which we have butyric acid. So, in the molecule specifically, the reaction site is between the OH of both molecules. So, basically, one of the OHs reacts with the H of the other molecule, causing a water to be produced, while the remaining O connects the two carbon chains. So when this reaction happens, the product would be ethyl butanoate, where this part would be the ester, while on the left would be the ethanol, and on the right we would have the part of the carboxylic acid. And now we'll go on to our next reaction. The next reaction we will be looking at is the the synthesis of ethers. To synthesize an ether, the organic reactant must be two alcohols, for which we have butanol and pentanol. The idea is basically the exact same, so I'm going to give you a little bit of time to actually try this out on your own, and afterwards we're going to look at it together. So pause the video and take a little bit to try to make the molecule. Now I hope you got the right answer, because the actual correct answer is as seen on screen. It is known as 1-butoxy-pentane. So the part on the left of the molecule, that is the butoxy. It originates from the butanol, and you could see this because it's a 4-carbon chain. The other part is from the pentanol, and you can see this because it's a 5-carbon chain. And when both of these chains separately are connected by the oxygen, and also it's the same, since it's the same thing as the previous reaction, we know that a water is released when the OHs react with each other. Now we're going to go to our next reaction once again. Our final specific reaction is going to be the synthesis of amides. To synthesize an amide, you need to react a first or second degree amine with a carboxylic acid. Our first degree amine is going to be butanamine. We know this is first degree because the NH is only bonded to 1 carbon. If the N was bonded to 2 carbons, then it would be called a second degree. And our carboxylic acid is going to be pentanoic acid. So I want to give you a few minutes to try to figure out the product is going to be. So pause the video and make your best guess. Now let's see if you're correct. The correct answer is going to be N-butyl pentanamide. So the part that I'm highlighting now, that comes from the amine. We know this because both the amine and this part is made of a 4-carbon. And then the blue part we know came from the carboxylic acid since it has a 5-carbon chain. And the part in the middle, which I'll be highlighting in red, that's the actual amide. And together, all 3 parts, they make up N-butyl pentanamide. Now you might be wondering why I said that was the final reaction we're going to look at, even though there's so much time left in the video. Well, that's because now I'm going to talk about something a little more broad. So all the reactions we were looking at previously, they're known as condensation reactions. But then, what is the polymerization part of condensation polymerization? Well, polymerization is actually a process where hundreds of thousands of condensation reactions combine these tiny molecules called monomers into this one large chain-like molecule called a polymer. And normally hundreds of repeating monomers create one polymer. And there's usually around 1 to 3 different monomers per polymer. To form these chain-like molecules, all the reactants must possess at least 2 sites which can undergo condensation reactions. In the reaction, the reactants will be 1,4-dibenzoic acid, which is this larger molecule, and ethyl 1,4-diol. Now I want you to react these two in one condensation reaction. And I'll pause the video and try it out. Now let's see if your work matched up with mine. If you got this molecule, then you did it correctly. Now I want you to look at a specific characteristic of this molecule. Pause the video and try to figure it out. Now, hopefully you figured it out. But the special characteristic about this molecule is that this molecule still has 2 sites for condensation reactions. Now you see these 2 sites. If we put hundreds of more of these molecules in here, then these sites could react with other sites of other separate molecules, and slowly those molecules will build up and they'll form this giant chain structure. And that's basically the idea of polymerizations. These available sites will continue reacting with other sites until no sites are left, which will cause one giant polymer to be made. So now let's consolidate everything. We still have around 7 minutes, so we should be able to get through everything. What? We have 2 minutes? Why weren't you telling me about how much time we have left? What do you mean it's not your job to keep a track of the time? Whose is mine? Sure, just blaming everything on me. Alright, you guys, let's do this pretty quickly. First thing we learned, what is a condensation reaction? A condensation reaction is a reaction where two smaller organic molecules react to form an organic molecule which possesses a longer carbon chain, along with a small covalent molecule, such as water. The small covalent molecule is released when the two chains combine with each other. And it's not always necessarily water, but in most situations it is going to be water. So now the next thing we learned were the three specific reactions. So the first one is synthesis of esters. This requires a reaction between alcohol and carboxylic acid, while catalyzed by heat and an acid. You'll probably notice that there's mostly commonly that the catalyst is always going to be heat and an acid. And now synthesis of ethers. This requires two alcohols to react with each other, and again it's catalyzed by heat and an acid. The third one is the synthesis of amides, and it requires a first or second degree amine to react with the carboxylic acid. And can you guess what the catalyst is? Ding ding ding. It is heat and an acid. The next thing we learned was polymerization. Polymerization is a process where hundreds of thousands of condensation reactions combine small molecules called monomers to form a large chain-like polymer of repeating monomers. Polymers are far more useful than monomers because they have many more purposes and aren't just used for energy. They could also be used for structural reinforcement or energy storage. Alright, and then now I'm going to talk about something a little extra. The thing that we talked at the start of the video, which were the uses. So some of the uses of condensation reactions. So we could turn small energy dense molecules into highly organized molecules to more efficiently store energy and make it more accessible when needed. The next thing was connecting amino acids with peptide bonds. These bonds are made through condensation reactions to form a polypeptide chain, which can become proteins and complete the necessary processes of life in our body. So condensation reactions can connect tiny molecules of plastic to form these giant plastic polymers, which are the actual things that we see in our stores and that we actually use at our homes. And the final thing is actually probably what you might be wearing. So you can make polyester through condensation reactions, and you know how many polyester is used in clothes. It has many more uses. Tune in next time to Carnivores Knowledge Center, where we'll be learning about hydrolysis. Well, thanks for watching.